How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is the Real Housewives of Potomac season 7, episode 4. Episode 4. So, we pick up where we left off with Candiace talking to the producer, being very upset. Candiace ends up storming out, and Giselle is sitting there like she don't know what's wrong. Everybody keeps saying, well, what's wrong with Candiace? What's wrong with Candiace? And Giselle is sitting there like, I don't know why she's upset. I don't know. I don't know. And I'm like, girl, you need to let the rest of the girls know why Candiace is so mad about what you said to her. Like, you sitting there like you don't know what happened, and everybody sitting around trying to figure out why Candiace is mad. Girl, you need to tell them. But neither here nor there. So then Wendy starts talking about wanting to open up this restaurant. And all the ladies are telling her this might not be the best decision. And one of them even said, well, what, like, I think it was Ashley that was like, well, are you worried that this is going to, concern, like end up getting into you and Eddie's relationship? Like, what does Eddie feel? And she said, well, Eddie told me that he don't want me to do anything else. Well, girl, see, let me just go off on a rant for a minute. Assuming that this is all real and it's not just a storyline for you, Wendy, the fact that you have repeatedly, in every episode this season, you have repeatedly, I mean, we're only on 4, but in all 4 episodes, you have talked about how overwhelmed you are, how much you have going on, and how your husband is telling you you can't manage what you already have, and until you get what you got on your plate under control, please do not add anything else. See, your husband is telling you. Your husband is giving you the warning signs. Your husband is giving you the hey girl, and you are not listening. You are not receiving, and it'll be the same person that'll come back later. And I ain't giving Eddie no free pass, but that's when a husband starts stepping out, or a husband starts being unresponsive, or a husband no longer, he gets burnt out and he gets tired. Y'all got 3 kids together. Now all of a sudden everybody gonna want to beat up on Eddie and talk about how horrible of a husband he is and he treating Wendy so wrong. But he done told her, we as a couple, we as a family, you as an individual, you can't do no more than what you doing. I'm gonna need you to put a pause on it. Let's get the social commentary, the professorship, the 3 kids, the candle line, the book you writing with your mama. And in addition to the fact that I'm a practicing attorney, can we get all that under control first, please, ma'am? On top of the fact you got the Real Housewives, because that's a job, okay? Can we please get all this under control? But no, you want to add a whole restaurant to the shit. Moving on. I'm sorry, I just had to rant. Because then her next storyline going to be Eddie having an affair. Moving on. So then Giselle tries to talk to Mia about the fact that Mia did not respond to her text, child. Mia left her on red. And Robin tells them, y'all need to go in the room and go have that conversation privately. So then Ashley brings up a valid point. Ashley says, listen, I just feel like Giselle is getting beat up for what all of us had concerns about Mia and them crazy text messages that Mia was sending out. But again, nobody else walked up to Mia and said, so girl, is this what cancer looks like? Nobody else did that but Giselle. Everybody might have had some concerns. Everybody might have looked at them text messages or those posts sideways, but ain't nobody else walk up to that woman and ask her, so is this what cancer looks like? That was absolutely out of pocket. That was absolutely, let me put a pin in. Let me go back to Miss Wendy, because I'm going to go ahead and knock you out the way. I'm not giving you no more time. Then you went to the doctor because your hair falling out, and you told your doctor how stressed out you were. Girl, it's all connected. And that's somebody who's gone through that this last year. If y'all on my channel, y'all know that I've been rocking with my hair fell out last year too, for a whole whatever different reasons it did. And it is a process, and it doesn't feel good as a woman. You know what I'm saying? So you were dealing with hair loss on top of the fact that you're talking about how much stress you're under and stuff. Baby girl, Wendy, slow down, baby. And I'm being that serious now. Slow down. Moving on. Back to this Mia situation. So Wendy says, well, I didn't question. I said we need to give her the benefit of the doubt. So Wendy and Robin end up getting into it really like bad. Like, I didn't even know that Wendy and Robin was in a bad place. Because listen, I can't remember who get along and who don't get along. And then the reunion, people make up the breakup. I can't keep up with the scorecard. So I didn't know that Robin and Wendy were in that bad of a space where Robin got up and walked up on Wendy. Wendy told her she needed to back up and sit down. Like, it got really ugly, and I'm not understanding how we got there. But What was funny to me was Wendy went all there defending Mia, talking about we need to give her the benefit of the doubt. I don't play with cancer. I had a friend that died from cancer, so I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, and that's what we need to do. And baby, when it was over with, her ass still got a hot mic on. She done got caught with the hot mic talking to the producer, talking about, well, I mean, we all know that Mia lying. So you literally just had a whole argument with Robin about questioning Mia's the validity of Mia's story about having cancer, and when you thought your mic was off, when you thought you wasn't mic'd anymore, here you go talking about something. Well, child, we know she lying. So now I gotta just side eye you and think that all of that was just for a story. Moving on. So Mia is talking to Giselle, and child, they done made up. Giselle apologized. Mia accepted her apology. I don't have nothing more for that. So they all come back around to the group as a whole, and they talk about, they try to get some clarity on what's going on with Mia. And Robin even said, listen, we were just a little confused, Mia. Like, we just not clear on what's going on. So Mia tries to get him some clarity. Listen. I said this in the first episode, and I'm going to say it now. I absolutely believe that there was some question marks to what was going on with Mia's health. Like, I absolutely believe that Mia has some stuff going on with her health. She said that she's cancer-free now, but she does still have lumps, and she has to get them removed. But the doctor said there's no sense of urgency for that. I just feel like that's where the story ends. People get lumps a lot. That's why you have to test them. That's why they have to see if they're malignant or benign. If they find that they're not cancerous, then the sense of urgency is not as great. And especially with us coming out of the panorama, people there's still backups on elective surgeries. So you are not at the front of the line when it comes to these types of things. Moving on. I'm not dwelling on that anymore. Candiace is doing her injections, her shots. She's stressing out because she said she's got to do it by herself. Chris is not there for her the way she needs him to be. And I can respect that. Like, I'm not going to beat Candiace up about that because it is a lot. I've had friends that have gone through in vitro the other way where they're trying to get pregnant. And it's a lot on your body. It's a lot to do the shots and the pills. First of all, it's expensive as hell. Second of all, it's a lot. And it's a lot on your body. And as a woman, it does take a toll. So I'm gonna give Candiace a pass on that. And then we find out later on in the episode that it's not even working. Her body is not taking. Listen, I've said it once. I've said it 1,000 times. I keep telling y'all that we have got to stop this Hallmark movie idea of pregnancy. And I know that's ironic coming from me since I love my Hallmark movies. But we've got to stop living in a world where you get, you want to have a baby, you have sex, you get pregnant, 9 months later, a baby pops out and everything works perfectly. That's just not how the human body works. And for women, it's not that easy more times than not. So just because Candiace is going through this process and getting the shots and taking the pills, it doesn't mean her body's going to respond the way it needs to respond. And she said, well, it doesn't help that I'm going through this stress and Giselle is tripping and I got all of this going on. It doesn't. Your husband, Giselle, it doesn't. Child, then we have this meaningless scene with Kern and Ray going to get a mani-pedi. And Karen talking about having eye candy and being attracted to other men and men being attracted to her and talking about, well, you always told me I could have eye candy. And Ray was like, yeah, okay. I just didn't understand the purpose of that. Like, whole scene. Just unnecessary. The whole... Like, Karen, other than you not liking Charisse, I don't see your storyline, girl. I don't see it. I love you, though. Y'all know the Grand Dame is my girl, but Karen, if that's the best you bringing us, I don't know. Then again, other ladies on other franchises get away with it, so why shouldn't you, child? Ashley goes to look at the house. Now, listen, I know a lot of people are getting ready to sit here and talk about... I was going to say this last week on the panel, but I said I just need to wait and get more information. When people was talking about Ashley don't need no $2 million house, $2 million, $2 million, $2 million. And I'm like, y'all don't understand what the cost of living is up here in the DMV area. Y'all don't understand that a $2 million house really ain't a lot of nothing up here. Like a $2 million house in the outskirts of Atlanta, and Atlanta is getting to be a little bit much now, but it's a big difference. It's a huge difference in a $2 million house in suburbs of Atlanta versus a $2 million house up here. And when I saw that she was in Arlington, Virginia, I said, oh, well, that make a whole lot of sense, because, and that house looked really nice. Don't get me wrong. The house looked really nice, and it looked like it was a nice house, right? So, anyway, we see her with her brother, and she's put offers on houses, but she keeps getting outbid. Let me tell you something. This just ain't the market. It is definitely a sell. You know, I get text, phone calls about stuff in the mail about me selling my house every day. That is what the market is right now. So she says she keeps getting outbid by cash offers. Like, people are out here paying cash for these houses. So the producers asked her, well, do you think you and Michael should consider that? And she was like, well, Michael doesn't want to do that, because he said that, you know, there are benefits to us, you know, not buying the house outright in cash. I mean, some of it includes, you know, refinancing, and then she couldn't give us the other reasons. Now, I'm not going to sit here but pretend like I'm any type of real estate expert, so I can't say what the pros and the cons are of buying cash outright versus financing. But what I can say is, as long as there's a mortgage and you and Michael's name is on it together, that means he's connected to you. And I feel like that's what a lot of this is about. A lot of this is about Michael still having control over Ashley. Now, I told y'all I ain't worried about Ashley, because Ashley ain't dumb, and I think Ashley knows exactly what she's doing. But now this little scene made me question my idea a little bit on that. It made me feel like, well, maybe Ashley don't know what she's doing. I don't know. Because then we found out that the realtor was like, oh, well, because remember last week, she was like, well, we don't want it to get out that we're separated because Michael said it'll hurt our chances of buying the house, yada, yada, yada. But then her realtor was like, well, no, your buyer is the bank is very well aware of what you and Michael's situation is. That's not a problem. That ain't holding us up none. So now I'm like, okay, well, then who lying? Is Michael lying? Is Ashley lying? Is the realtor lying? Anyway, Ashley has a moment, because she was like, you know, all of this seems real, and it's really putting a pin on, like, I'm really doing this. Like, my house is really, like my marriage is really over. And then she says, am I making a mistake? Girl, bye! Anyway, moving on. I think that's just fear talking. I think that's the realization that it's really what it is, and you're afraid. I really think that's what it boils down to. Moving on. Robin and Juan. Listen, I really feel like Robin be blindsiding Juan with these conversations. Like, Juan knows that they gonna film, but I don't think that Juan be knowing what's gonna come out of Robin's mouth. And then Robin don't understand why she gets the responses that she gets. So they're going through these old papers, and they're talking about the wedding and all this other stuff. And Robin is gonna bring up a prenup. So what I thought was funny was, from the very beginning, Juan was like, okay, you literally wanted to continue to have a conversation about this prenup that Juan had already told you, okay. He was like, you know, she said, well, when we got married, we got a prenup. And he was like, yeah, and I remember that conversation. Like, you had an attitude. You didn't understand why. You felt some kind of way about it. Yeah, you ended up signing it, but don't sit here and act like you was like, okay, then. You had an attitude, which I believe. Then Juan was like, I ain't worried about no prenup because I make more money than you anyway. And, of course, Robin was like, the producers was like, so do you really make more money? Does Juan really make more money than you? Robin tried. She said, I don't think that's what he said. I think he said, I will make. And then the producer was like, yeah, no, that ain't what he said. She was like, well, you know how men are. At the end of the day, does Robin make more money than Juan right now? Absolutely. At the end of the day, does Juan have the potential to make more money than Robin? Yes. Because right now, Juan is coaching. He's coaching on a collegiate level. Now, it's not a D1 school. It's not a major program. It's a small HBCU in Baltimore. However, if he does end up getting into the coaching world and move up in the ranks, I mean, look at the Nick Sabans of the world. Even on the collegiate level, their salaries are, $20-30 million a year. Much less if he makes it to the NBA and actually makes, NBA money. So it's not like he doesn't have the potential to make money. Because let's be clear, Robin, unless you establish some long-term situations, once this show is over, girl, ain't nobody buying them hats. Like, you got reasonably shady, but once you're no longer on this show, who cares about what you're talking about? Does anybody care now? So Juan gets upset because she wants to really have this whole conversation about a prenup. And my thing is, he done already told you, okay. Then even he said, I'm proud of everything you've done and what you've been able to build. I wouldn't take that from you. So then Robin wants to bring up, well, you know, when we were getting divorced, you know, it got ugly and you were messing with somebody that, and he was like, Robin, don't do that. Like, don't. And I said, see, here's Robin, here's where you be going left and where Juan be getting mad at you. Don't do that, Robin, he said. Don't be bringing up other people to make it seem like that. No, At the end of the day, he told her, what you draw up the paperwork, whatever you think you deserve, whatever you think you want, go on and put it in the paperwork. I'll sign it. So then she was like, well, I mean, that's what we need to talk about. I mean, because I need to know how you feel. Robin, I don't know how many different ways you want Juan to say okay. Because I feel like you was trying to create a scene and you were trying to create a moment and a storyline. And Juan was like, okay. Like, if you have it right now, I'll sign it right now. Like, what? Girl. Anyway, Robin goes out to lunch with Mia so they could clear the air. Once again, Mia is breaking down her diagnosis, what the doctor said, when the doctor said, how it's going to look, what she done had done, what she hasn't had done, the biopsy, the autopsy, the rhiopsy, the oscopy, whatever. They done got it all cleared up. So then they get to talking about Giselle and Candiace and why Candiace was mad at Giselle. So Robin tells Mia the whole story. And y'all know Miss Go Along to Get Along Mia always got to be a part of something. So she going to say, well, you know, I have a story too. She going to say at the spring fling, Chris was looking at her and wouldn't take his eyes off of her and it was creepy. Y'all know shady ass Bravo had to show us 2 or 3 clips of Chris paying Mia absolutely no attention. See, that's the shit that I don't like. I already don't like the fact that I feel like Giselle is putting 20 on 10 with this whole situation. But now Mia is adding her 20 cents to it. And 20 plus 20 is coming up in 60 in this situation. Because ain't none of y'all making sense. And y'all doing way too much. And I don't like it. I don't like it. And I really don't like the fact that y'all keep making me defend Candiace's ass. I don't like it. It's the 2nd week in a row. And I don't like it. Anyway, Robin was like, I like Chris. And I don't really like this. I like Chris. So we see Candiace and Chris go out to lunch. At the same, y'all know, they did one of these split conversations. At the same time that we see Candiace and Chris going to lunch with Robin, we see Giselle talking to Karen. Now, basically, Giselle is letting Karen know her point of view and telling her side of the story of what happened. And she also said that she didn't like the fact that that Robin went and told Mia the story. First of all, I know you're not talking, miss. I'm going to tell everybody that Juan name ain't on that house. How you mad? And how you mad about a conversation that you literally had on camera? So Karen listened, and at first Karen was like, you are entitled to your feelings are valid. But once Giselle told the story, then I feel like Karen backed up a little bit like, wait a minute, what? That's all that happened? Wow. Okay. She said, well, when you asked Chris to leave the room, what did he do? She said he immediately left. Like, he didn't. She said, okay, well, there you go. Like, I don't understand what you want. And she said that it's been a couple of days since she told Candiace and she's really been expecting an apology. How in the hell did you expect an apology from Candiace when Candiace literally didn't even finish filming the scene with you, went to production, complained, and then stormed out? What part of apology did you think you were getting? I mean, Giselle, really, girl? You really thought you was going to get an apology? Girl, stop playing. You knew you weren't getting any parts of an apology from Candiace. Like, stop. So they're at lunch, and this is when Candiace talks about the fact that her body's not responding to the pills and everything. And then Robin shows up, and they have they talk about the Giselle thing too. And Chris was like, listen, I ain't mean no harm. Matter of fact, when we got to her room and I realized nobody was in the room, I asked her, did she want me to leave the door open? Like, he said, if she felt uncomfortable, her feelings are valid, but I know I didn't do anything consciously to make her uncomfortable. And I like that answer, Chris, because you're not diminishing her feelings all the while defending yourself. And I can appreciate that, because honestly, at the end of the day, I can't tell Giselle that she was or wasn't uncomfortable. Now, I can question her timing and expressing her uncomfortability, but if you was uncomfortable, child, you was uncomfortable. I still think you put 20 or 10, but that's my 2 cents. So, Robin, a couple of times this episode, Robin, because when she was talking to Mia, she told Mia that Giselle was totally out of pocket and she was totally wrong for the way she approached Mia. But she told Giselle to her face, but I'm just saying. So then you're having a whole conversation with Candiace where you are saying, I think Giselle is blowing this all out of proportion. I mean, she talked to me about it before. When we left the reunion, I told her then I didn't think it was a big deal. And, she's basically claiming that the whole story with Ashley is what triggered her and the reason why she's speaking up now. Girl, bye. The camera's running is what triggered you. You needing a storyline is what triggered you. Girl, bye. Child, anyway, that is the episode. That's where we part ways. And I will talk to y'all later. Peace.